What's going on, y'all? Machiavelli Mills TV. So I just made a video about Beyonce and Jay-Z and why they don't bring their son outside as much as their other children, right? And I said it's possible that their son is on the spectrum. And so when I made the video, you know, I got comments with people agreeing that that's probably most likely why he's not outside, because the loud noises and, you know, so much stuff going on can be overstimulating for a child that is autistic, right? Because my son is autistic. So anyway, one comment said, well, you know, they should just still, I'm paraphrasing, but it was like they should still bring him outside. Be proud in it, like I am. Like she was saying, like, I'm proud of my son, because my son, you see my son walking around in my videos. He's come and sat on my lap plenty of times before, right? And the young lady was like, they should be proud in it like you are. Why don't hide them, et cetera, et cetera. And what I want other people to understand is that there is an acceptance phase that a lot of parents have to get past, you know, when their children are on a spectrum, right? When your child is on the spectrum, you have to, it's an acceptance phase you have to get past. You have to accept that your child is different. And a lot of times that is hard. You know, it was something that I had to recognize and realize. And I realized that when my son had just turned 1, a little bit, he had just turned 1, and I saw certain things in him that I noticed that was different about my daughter, my older daughter, right? And so me and his mom, for a while, we hoped that things would change. We hoped that we were just seeing something that wasn't there, but we had to accept what we were seeing. And so by age 2, we put him in early intervention therapy. But it was a lot of crying in that. It was a lot of, like, you know, man, knowing that you know, when you have children, you have certain hopes and plans and dreams for them. And your plans for your children change when your child has a developmental delay, you know, when they're on the spectrum, et cetera, right? And you have to do what's necessary for the better development of your child. And that's what me and his mom decided to do. But with that, you know, it comes a lot of crying with accepting what's going on. And then even just not beyond accepting it, because I'm sure they probably have accepted it, but you have to deal with what the world will think about your child, how the world will treat your child. You're going to love your child wholeheartedly, but this is a cruel world that we live in. I've already seen, this is something that I've seen before. I've seen people alluding to their son being on the spectrum and someone saying, well, that's because of the witchcraft that they're into, Beyonce and Jay-Z. They're into that witchcraft, so that's why their son is like that. Do you know how disheartening and hurtful that is for someone to hear you say about their child, right? Do you know how, like, disheartening that is for someone to say about your child? Oh, you engaging in witchcraft, and that's why his son is like that. Like, what? Nobody, what are you talking about, first of all, with the witchcraft? But nobody wants their child to be like that. You know, people want their child to be normal. And so even outside of that, right? When you take your child outside, there are people who are going to say harsh things. These tabloids, these blog sites are all around, which is just a cesspool for just ignorance. You know, you're going to have ignorant comments in the comment section, and people say things in an ignorant manner. Sometimes they don't even know that sometimes they do know, but things that could be really offensive, and, you know, and it's hard for certain people to deal with, right? Again, but it's a cruel world. People can say cruel things about a baby. And then not only that, when you bring your child outside and your child is on the spectrum, they're going to interact differently than normal, regular children do. And so that sometimes comes with stares, especially if your child is upset and they're overstimulated and they start getting upset. It comes with stares, you know, and sometimes it's hard for some people to handle. Some people get pissed, like, yo, stop staring at my child, stop staring at my child. Even when, like, now, I don't care, right? But there was a process with me having my son out and me knowing he's on the spectrum and him reacting to certain things differently and interacting differently, and you wondering, are people going to be staring? Are there going to be stares? But eventually, like, it's just like, yo, this is my son. I love my baby. I don't care what's going on. We're going to be outside. I'm going to take him out, and we're going to let him enjoy the world just like I let my daughter enjoy the world, you know? And if there's some ignorant stuff coming in, I'm going to nip that shit in the bud immediately. I'm not going to let nobody be ignorant to my child, you know? But yeah, you be proud of your baby. You want your baby to have experiences just like your other child, if you have any other children, just like your other child had experiences the same way, you know, and sometimes they have to be mediated and regulated in a certain way because like certain things can be overstimulating for your child. But yeah, I don't think they're ashamed of their baby. I just think, you know, they know how cruel this world can be. And even me as a parent of my son who's autistic, I wonder about how the world is going to treat my child as he gets older and older and older, right? I'm going to be there with him every step of the way, of course. Me and his mom both, and, you know, his grandparents, etc., and all of that, right? But it's still a thing. You wonder, how is the world going to treat my child? Will they be kind to my baby? Because my baby is different. So that is a thing that people worry about and consider. I know I have a sweet, loving child, but I know everybody don't raise their children to be sweet and loving. And even if they do, sometimes their kids take on other shit and negative traits somewhere else along the way, right? As my son is eating his waffles right now, standing right here eating his waffles, right? But yeah, man, those are things that a parent worries about when their child is on the spectrum. They worry about, hey, is the world going to perceive how they're going to take to my son? Are they going to treat him well? You know? And it's even something that I worry about when I'm off of this earth. He'll have his sister here, you know, but this is something that you think about. How's the world going to treat my child when I'm gone? You know, so I don't think it's that, oh, they're ashamed and they don't want nobody to see them and all of that. I think they're just worried about people being cruel and crazy things being said and just ignorance being spewed, because it does. And it happens to people who are not even celebrities. You know, there are people who don't understand autism. And when you see a child who may be like, when they're little itty bitty, when they're little children, when they're toddlers, and sometimes, you know, when you take something from them, they have meltdowns. You know, and it is different than a regular child having a meltdown. Sometimes they become aggressive at times, right? You know, and you have to squeeze their hands and you got to rub them to calm them down and relax them. There are people who think, oh, you need to whoop that boy. You need to whoop that child. No, that is not what's called for all the time. You know what I mean? It's certain ways to mediate that, to counteract those things, whether it be therapy, whether it be the squeezes, whether it be grabbing the hands. There's different methods to it. But, you know, especially when we black, so most of the grandparents and parents say, oh, give them a whooping, whoop them, grab the belt. There are different ways to handle these things. But yeah, I understand them being nervous. I got to brush my baby hair. He's going to get the waves in his head. Boy, you get all the girls. But yeah, there are different ways to handle certain things, but people are not as knowledgeable about autism. They're more knowledge about it now because back then it was just not a lot of research on it. But now there is. There's a lot of therapies available and everything too. So yeah, man, I think I think they worry about those things and how people are going to treat their child, especially with them being big stars and celebrities. They already get a lot of criticisms, right? And a lot of things, crazy things being said about them. So people wonder, just imagine what you'll say about my child, because people were cruel to Blue Ivy about her looks, her hair, all of those things. So they just imagine what they can say about my son. It could be on the spectrum.